Good afternoon. Welcome to Speaking in Your Basement. I've been doing some interviews recently for Toastmasters, for District 26 Toastmasters specifically. And part of the reason I decided to do these, I've done them as part of a project, trying to put some things together, just getting better at interviewing, amongst other things. And I noted a while back, Toastmasters focuses on what they call crutch words a lot. I've heard them called filler words and a variety of other things. Words like and sometimes starting with so or doing the long so as a pause in the middle of something. Usually they're words that allow you to think for a minute but feel like you're still talking while you're thinking, and you have much more impact when you just pause, when you just choose to be quiet for a moment rather than throw that filler word or crutch word in there. So when you're speaking and you have these words that come up frequently, it doesn't necessarily take away from your message, but it does keep you from having the same impact you could have. So in Toastmasters meetings, frequently they have a role to watch for filler words, use of filler words. And when you perform the role, and just when you're in Toastmasters meetings, knowing someone's counting this, it also tends to make you more aware of the fact and a little more conscious to where you're less and less likely over time to use those words. Well, I noticed over some time, over a few years being in Toastmasters, I hadn't eliminated them, but I was using much fewer crutch words, particularly in my prepared speeches, but even in my short extemporaneous speeches when I would just speak for a minute or two off the cuff. Much fewer filler words than when I'd first joined the club. Then I started doing these interviews a couple of months ago, and it was going back through the same thing again. It was seeing myself use all the filler words and having a variety of other challenges that I thought I'd overcome. And so I wanted to work a little more on it. I've noticed that with a variety of things. You bring things to a certain level of competence or effectiveness or whatever else you want to call it, and then it's the question of, do you want to keep going? I was pretty happy with where I was going with filler words until I edited one of my interviews and saw all the use of filler words. And then initially part of me was like, I've got to fix this. And so I'm working on fixing it. Now, I don't know how much interviewing I'm going to be doing in the future. I like face-to-camera videos just like this, fine, and I like live group meetings. Those all I feel comfortable in, and I'm pretty happy with how well I do in those. But we're back to the question of practice. How consistently are you practicing? And do you want to spread these skills to other areas of your life? If you've gotten really good at interviews, you might not be doing as well as you want still in social interactions or at parties, say, or when you're speaking with your loved ones. There's lots of other situations. Do you want to bring the skill set to those situations? You can. It will require some more work, some more consistent work. So it's a question of how far you want to take it. And that's one of the benefits of a daily practice. You already know you're living the life. Every day you're reminding yourself that this is something you're working towards. And you can do different things over time. You can do the same thing for as long as you want to. But the fact that you keep coming back to it again and again and again is a powerful thing, not only for you improving your speaking ability, it's one of the most powerful ways to build self-esteem, self-respect. Because you're doing something for you. You're doing it on your own. You're not doing it at the behest of someone else for your job or to keep a relationship together. You're doing it because you decided you wanted to do this. And you keep coming back to it consistently for that reason. And you may not feel like doing something for a month or for a year or whatever when you start, but if you just do it for a few days and keep coming back to it for a few days, for a week, for a couple of weeks, you're going to start feeling the momentum of that building. And when you feel that momentum build, it takes on a life of its own. And at that point, you can add things in, you can take things out, you can adjust it however you want. Like our early example, if you want to work on getting rid of the filler words, it can be that. If you want to work on getting your ideas more clear, it can be that. If you want to work on very short, punchy things with lots of impact, you can work on that. You can work on whatever you want to work on, and over time, You can work on a lot of different things, but it all starts with that daily consistent practice. So keep coming back to your practice. If you've already put it in place, make sure you get it in today. Well done. If you haven't gotten it in place yet, why not have today be your first day? Get started. As soon as you can face the challenge of it and get on the other side of it, the more quickly you transform yourself. And the transformation that begins in speaking can gradually spread to your entire life. I'm Ben Langley. Thanks very much for spending some time with me today. We'll talk again soon.